Alright, let's go. Well, let's get some of that coffee. Some of them gaming news. Oh, let's do it. Oh, let's do it. Well, not news now. News gonna be a bit later. Now we're gonna get some game dev articles then. Alright, one sec. Chat though. Chat is not on yet. Come on. And the camera I'll bring. There we go. There we go. Alright. Where'd you get that stuff though? Sick. Chat, go back. Come back. Oh, it takes forever to load in. Yep, you got. Yeah, there we go. Load in. Get the camera. There it is. There we go. Alright. Oh, there we go. Alright, we good. Now let's get the water going. There we go. Done. Water in process. Chat loaded. We good. Oh, we good. Oh, the collection of apology letters. Yeah. That we indeed get a whole bunch of them. Whole bunch of them. Now let me unload all the coffee stuff since I was taking it with me. This here. Let's go finish first. And these all my coffee setup, the mobile coffee setup. There we go. Rubbish bag. There we go. That will do. Done. Ooh, right. Debra, is it still going ham? Is it all still melting? Some things never change. Elidium, hello. Didn't I stream yesterday because I had a day off? Basically. As simple as. Simple as. Only 4090s suffering now with the Miltoning. I see. I didn't know. I see. Well, that's where there is the schedule. Schedule below the stream with the magic button. And I try to set it up for the week. Probably like pin the chat message with that or something, probably. Always. With all the plans and everything. Because again, still probably not gonna really help that much. No matter what you try, no matter where you put it all, and there will be people who will miss stuff. Inevitable. Inevitable. Yes, you see, I see. Think so? I mean, could be, I guess. That would be quite the reason to delay the whole game just for that. I mean, yeah. There we go. A day off was Wednesday. Well, I mean, yeah, it was Wednesday though. It was Tuesday, no? Yeah, I had day off on Tuesday this week. Tuesday and Saturday, and I usually kind of have day offs, you know. It's either like usually 2 of them per week. And they also sometimes kind of going places, you know. Because sometimes I adjust them. It's not like I have a fully fixed schedule. I try to take only work days off though, and that I do try to do. Sometimes, you know, you hang out with friends, sometimes have some birthdays, sometimes have some other stuff, and then day offs might change a bit. And that's why schedule is being updated. Schedule is not there always and forever, and it's being updated every week. And I try to put all the expected day offs and stuff in that. No, I haven't. Steven, what was with it? What was with that? There we go. No, I see, Steven, right. The classic, the classic. That's exactly the way how even our news channels and newsmakers are working. The classic. Just need some special accounts. And you good, eh? The Hughes. And the magic Twitter accounts and all that. And they literally make news out of that nowadays, eh? And just create some botted accounts. Leave some comments to something. And then you can make a whole, you know, news article. And that people are unhappy about some decision or something. Or other way around. Yes, he's still very from the same guy. And that's one way to do some QA. Some Q&A. At least they could try better, you know. At least they could try better. It's obviously easier to answer more like formulated and curated answers, but I'm pretty sure like they could find some average person asking kind of the same questions anyway. I would say. They probably didn't even want to bother with that. Just already pre-made the questions and answers before. And that's probably happening quite often. Pretend someone actually asked things, yeah. I don't remember who was that. Was it Lyric actually back in the day or someone else who said that sometimes I also, you know, pretend that someone asked. Chat going fast and no one probably gonna see that no one actually asked. Alright, cleaning the grinder. And it's clean. Yeah, where's the filter? Yeah, they didn't really want to improvise and actually answer proper questions. That probably is like way more common than it seems. It's just either in other cases people not going full detective mode, or they just kind of prepared it a little better. So it's not that obvious, you know. I would assume. I don't have much milk, but I can have condensed milk then. Not sure if it will be whipping worthy though. Kinda doubt it. The condensed milk. There we go. The schizo shaming, yeah. Not false, not false. They should just do like the Reddit AMA or something. And then you just like pick some questions from there and that's it. Actually, I guess on the Reddit AMAs and stuff, they need to answer pretty much everything though. So that's a bit worse for them, I would assume. This one I don't need them. Alright, let's see. Not sure if it's much whippable because the volume is not that big. Let's try a little. It's actually already. Still not a lot, but there wasn't a lot in the first place. That's already. That is good, eh? There we go. There we go. All right, done. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of milk there whatsoever. That's good though. Still should be good, eh? There we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, let's see what's gonna be there to read. Before we hop to the news, I'm gonna get some articles first. Ain't much, but it should be good. All right, done and done. Coffee ready. Let's go. No, wait a bit probably. Less milk, and it was also heated up a bit more because it was less. Let's go. Get them articles. Let's see. Oh, which one to pick? Which one to pick? Can't I find some post-mortems there? This one maybe? I can do a few, I guess, maybe. I need to remember to to mark those that I already had. I'll need to get the reading thingy too. Get him. And boom. We good then. All right. Can zoom in a bit more. Come on. This stuck for a moment. Come on. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna just catch up with the log, I guess, and everything. Alright, indie post-mortem, solo project, 2000 copies sold, a Shapebreaker. Alright, the short version and then some context. Alright. Sure release solo developed a game on Steam and sold 2000 copies. Feel like I needed to sell 5 times this amount to be commercially successful. The hardest lesson for me was that your early access release is your release. Transitioning from early access to full release will not get the same attention from press, content creators, or the Steam algorithm. That I think depends on the project though. Like if you get the really good attention in early access, then full release also gonna be a pretty huge boost. The relic news, which ones? That they're getting the staff cuts or something? I didn't prepare notes this time, so we're gonna be like I'm gonna be pulling stuff live from the list, so I couldn't pre-peek things. Yeah, the card that we had, so most likely it's gonna be there. I saw that during the week, but yeah, like just arrived basically home from the summer house and like instantly started streaming pretty much almost. So you didn't really have time in the morning to prepare, but yeah, gonna be we're doing it live. We're doing it live. All right. See, with early access, I feel like it does work, but maybe not for everyone. And I think Steam does give you the boost for full release from early access. They also give you kind of the second release. At least I heard about it also, like from peeps that there is some sort of like full release. Like you have like 2 releases basically if you go early access. You get like the first when you just release the game in early access or whatever, you get the boost, and with the early access and full release, you get 2 of those boosts. Even though maybe like second one is also not that big and it's still algorithms, so it most likely just adjusts based on the how your game is already performing. My inflated expectations crashed me down into disappointed mess, and so did negative reviews, even though I have 80% positive reviews. True save, true. Partially recovered emotionally, starting to feel that I should be proud to have released a solo developed game with the plus 80% positive reviews and 2,000 copies sold. True. Realized I have learned a lot and I'm now looking forward to starting on my next game. Goal for that game will be to sell at least 10,000 copies. I mean, dude, if you start setting the goals like that, not, my goal is to make a good game, and but the goal to sell how much, so many copies, that kind of probably doesn't work that well. So okay, if not to reach that goal, the real goal is the journey that it brings. Well, I guess then it's kind of fine. Yeah, live stream units sold at 1095. Wishlist sales, the pics there. Actually, I mean, why not? See what is gonna get there. Nice, this stuff. Oh yeah, there's gonna be like some insane stuff potentially on Nimgur too, if you think about it. It might be not that crazy good of an idea. Units returned 8.3%, 83% positive, 36 reviews. Hours spent in the game, 700 hours. 15% of this time was spent on marketing. 700 hours. That's like what in full work days. It's just month gonna be around like 160, right? So it's not even like that crazy, I would say, to be honest. To be honest, especially since part of this time was spent on marketing and stuff. That doesn't sound that crazy. Well, probably was also like on the what it's gonna be. The context is here. Software development background. 6 years ago, decided I wanted to make games and teach. Switched to full-time teaching job and learned to make games during my evenings and weekends. The goal was to learn how to make a game from technical point of view. Create an infinite runner for mobile with the odds that 100 people played and made half a cent. A friend of mine did the art, the goal succeeded, but the game was not really original or very fun. Second goal was to create an original and fun game. Created a tactical programming a card game for PC. With an artist I connected with online. Did not make it out of early access because the artist did not have time anymore. Sold 200 copies. The goal succeeded, but the game was hard to market. Did fail in the sense that it was not fully released then. Well, I mean, if it was like there's plenty of games that are constantly in early access, right? So not like it stops people from buying those for years. Their goal was to make a commercially successful game on my own. This would require proper marketing. The game was fully released on May 2nd, sold 10 copies so far. That's not even that long. It's gonna go probably more. Not enough to be commercially successful, but it does have a positive review rating and a fully released, solo developed game. The social experiment or the actual passion? Well, I mean, there is some. Like, he wanted to switch to teaching and making games, and he did switch to teaching and making games. So I guess that is kind of passion. It's just like this, like, the goal setting. I'm not sure. Not sure about that one. Like, well, I mean, kind of in steps. So, like, let's just make a game first, then let's just make some, good game that's gonna be interesting and fun. And then let's make...
Secret.
Shit, don't she? Thank you, appreciate it. Exactly the amount. Cut the number. Feels good, man. Thank you, Lanshy, thank you, appreciate it a lot. Killing it there. Hello, Lanshy. Thank you, guys, thank you. Close the month. Feels good, man. We survive, eh? That is very nice. Thank you, Lanshy. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone who donated, and not even just this month, but in general. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. What went well? Starting with market analysis. Market analysis before deciding what game to make. Well, yeah, that I'm not sure about. Even though like it kind of is like you can't completely just like YOLO make some super mega game that you want to make, because if there is no market, no demand for that game, no one's gonna play it, then it's not like you're gonna just make it for yourself to play, but for others too. Research what kind of games people were buying on Steam in the past 2 years, and filter based on small team, a max 5 developers, but preferably max 1 or 2. Thank you, Rev. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I even went over. Feels good, man. That's a very feels good. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Go in ham. Go in ham. Look at what genres are profitable. I want to make something with minimal art because my art skills are low. I know the feel. I know the feel. The resulting conclusion that I was going to make a roguelike tower defense, and more specifically roguelike tower deck builder. I estimated that this should be profitable for a solo developer for 1 year of work. Later during my development, a roguelike tower deck builder called Tower Tactics released on Steam with commercial success, and in my opinion validated my hypothesis. Okay, so you got something also that in the end got released. Oh, yeah, someone else released the. Okay, I see what it means there. All right. Prototyping, had to figure out how to combine tower defense and roguelike deck building genres, research the genres and try different quick prototypes, helped me learn that worked in what did not work in a couple of hours days, helped me throw away a couple of ideas that turned out not to work out, believe that saved me a lot of time, and I can highly encourage the prototype mentality during any stage of development. Test quickly to see if an idea works before putting a lot of time into it. Early and constant feedback. Playable prototype after a few hours, days, let my gamer friends that like tower defense games play it. Quickly became obvious that this game was so much more fun than my previous game. Then I shared very early prototype on itch.io. Feedback and number of players there confirmed for me that I should move forward with this game. Then I developed the game into a minimal viable product state to be able to release it in early access on Steam. Got even more players and feedback there. The feedback really helped shape the roadmap for the game. Was early access the right choice though? More on that later. Developing a game for PC and Steam. In my limited experience so far, it is far easier to make money and sell copies on Steam than it is to sell on mobile. If you look at how to market a game, then marketing for a game on Steam seems all about creating a great game for a target audience, getting the game in front of them, convincing them that this game is correct fit for what they want. When I was searching mobile games, I mostly found talks about how to get players addicted and how to get them to keep spending money. Much prefer marketing for a Steam game, both in terms of fun but also ethically. Well, I think you may be a little, stuck behind, because that's what we have on Steam and PC too nowadays. How to make them keep spending money. I think that's on PC too now. Keeping bugs low, apply my knowledge about good code design principle from courses that I teach. I feel like I kept my code very easy to understand, easy to change and easy to avoid bugs. Though I'm a fan of test-driven development, I have not applied it to game development. Feels very time-consuming, and I managed to keep the number of bugs very low without it. Make it a priority to write very clean code and refactor immediately if new or old code seem complicated or hard to understand. Also played my game often because things need to feel right. This had the added bonus of finding most of the bugs that did exist. I do think that I would immediately apply test-driven development if I worked on a game together with one or more other developers. With one test to fail when another developer breaks my code or when I break theirs. In-game feedback feature. Developer from Monster Train did a GDC talk when they recommended using an in-game feedback feature. Follow up on this advice. There was a text at the bottom left of my game. Press F8 to provide feedback. Pressing F8 brought up a text prompt where they could type any feedback they wanted. Pressing send would send that feedback and a screenshot with some build details straight to my Trello board. Seen a lot of feedback through this feature about bugs and also suggestions and praise, and definitely worth my time, and I can highly recommend doing this. That's an interesting little tidbit there. What went okay-ish? The marketing through content creators. Focused on marketing through content creators without sponsorships. Number one contributor to my number of copies sold in the wishlist is YouTubers. The game got covered by Wonderbots and Retromation very early in development. Two biggest spikes in my sales. More than half of my sales come from YouTubers covering the game. Why okay-ish? Because I was happy the coverage received on early access release, but not on my full release, and more on that later. Marketing through a Steam Discovery Queue. Once a game has 10 reviews, the Steam Discovery Queue kicks into gear, responsible for other half of my sales. Well, okay, because I was happy the numbers during early access release, but not during full release. Alright, that's gonna be like later on that. Early access release brought in a lot of players, feedback and suggestions that helped shape my roadmap. Players also reported on any bugs that made it the build. Game would not be at that same quality or as bug-free without early access. Why okay, more on that later, alright. My execution of the vision. Combining tower defense with roguelike elements and roguelike deck building was a great vision. The charger. Whoop. Confirmed by many recent games. However, I would label my execution of this vision as 7 out of 10. I believe a game needs to be 8 out of 10 to be commercially successful. Why did other games do it better? I feel like this would be a wall of text all on its own and is out of scope for this post more than post for me. What did not go well? Full release marketing. So we're here. The moment that I discovered my game was not a commercial success. The moment all my expectations came crashing down, sending me into a very negative mental state, which I have mostly recovered from. I was expecting full release to bring in about 10 times more players than early access did. It did not. I had sold 1,900 copies during early access. I have sold 200 copies since full release. I don't know how I could have had such incorrect expectations. Well, I hadn't read this online before. Your early access release is your release. Present content creators want to cover your game because it's new. It's new on release or an early access release. It is not new when transitioning from early access to full release. And that, as I said, is not correct, really. Steam algorithm also does not boost your transition from early access to release the same amount as normal release or an early access release. Well, the amount I'm not sure, but there is a boost though. Like every release is a boost. Early access release is a boost, early access to full is a boost too. It's just kind of like maybe smaller, but still. The reverse on the expectations, yeah. But it really depends on the game though. And that's the thing, like if your game wasn't a success like in early access, like huge, like commercial success, as he says, right? Then like full release is not gonna magically kind of fix it. Like people, if it's like, you know, Hades or something, right? Then like early access to full release, that was boost even more probably than early access release. Like Subnautica, right? Like a bunch of those games, they go from early access to full release and they get like huge boost. And like content creators gonna play that because some of them were waiting for full release, for example, right? Some of them will return to the game, like Darkest Dungeon, for example, right? Like a lot of people play Darkest Dungeon 2 on early access release, and all the same people, like Baru and others, right? They played on the full release on Steam too, and me also, for example. So it depends on the game, I would say. Yeah, you also get like if you have like a big update, like every game gets like some amount of boost for the updates. So if you have like a big update rolling out for the game, you also can use it to boost yourself up again. So I think like the case here is not, you know, that going early access to full release is like bad in general, is that for some game it's not that good. Like if you have something with like 30 reviews and stuff, then releasing it not gonna change much because it's already kind of bad visibility and the full release not gonna change that really. It's not like because the game is bad or something, it's just like algorithm already probably decided what's for this game. And with content creators, well, partially I guess it makes sense, but it makes sense for YouTubers really more. Like if you provide some of them with like early access to pretty much any game really, right? They're gonna more likely go for it and they're gonna appreciate it more because, you know, they're gonna get an opportunity to post some content, you know, that no one else really did yet. And early when everyone's gonna be looking what kind of game it is, right? So that then they do, yeah, when it's already like they already did cover the game, then returning for the full release, they're gonna do only if the game is hype, basically, right? Like they would return for Hades, they would return for Darkest Dungeon 2, but if it's like unknown random game, then yeah, no one's really gonna return most likely, unless they really like the game, of course. So kind of partially makes sense. I feel like with streamers is a little bit better because, you know, streamers sometimes just in general kind of look for content, so they might just pick it up because why not? It's just like live content, plenty of time, right? It's not like they need to kind of min-max too much. They can play it again on full release. Not to mention a lot of them probably don't even know. Like you should maybe don't need to like put an accent on the fact that the game was already out for a while, right? In early access, just like, well, you know, like my game's releasing, here's the key. And many people probably not gonna be looking into like, you know, that it's already like released years ago, just in early access. They just gonna like, all right, sure, let's play. Because I think for streamers it's a little better in that sense, since there's no algorithm and other stuff on Twitch. It's just kind of like you just make content, you know. You kind of follow meta, follow trends also, but there are down times when you can just like play some random indie game. Online festivals, Hear a lot of good things about online festivals. Participated in a couple, but every game participates in every festival that they can. My game just drowned in the mass. The exception is Steam Next Fest because you can only participate once. Unfortunately, my game was not allowed because it was already available in early access. Major bummer. Yeah, festivals, not sure. Next Fest is really good though. For now, we'll see. We'll see how long will it last. I think in Next Fest you also get drowned quite a lot. Even with the games that are allowed to participate once, I think there is still like a lot of them though. Speed of development, developed in a very lean and agile way. The time that I spent on the game was spent very well, but I'm just a solid developer working like 16 hours on the game every week. Got a nice amount of players coming in during every phase, but I did feel like I could not pump out new content and improvements fast enough to keep them engaged. I imagine this is completely different if you have a 5-person team working on a game full time. Well, I guess if it's early access, then there should be some sort of like cadence of like updates or something going. And just so people feel that, you know, it's early access. Like you see early access, you check like, you know, and there's like every like week or like at least like few weeks, month, there is like some sort of like devlog, you know, or like update notice or something. You see that at least, you know, it's alive. Huh? It's actually going somewhere. Social media marketing. I tried Twitter before without any impact. This time I tried marketing on Reddit on relevant subs. Nice amount of upvotes and a couple of posts, but the impact on wishlists or sales were minimal compared to numbers that Steam was bringing in. Well, I mean, Twitter is like dead now for that stuff. Like the only way is uh to pay to Mr. Musk and then to try to farm every hashtag and, you know, like leave a reply everywhere, just basically go full spam mode. Then maybe you will get some visibility. Otherwise, engagements on Twitter are just gone. Like I see even on my account, like it was like it wasn't big or anything before, right? But now it's just like there's like engagements are zero almost. And it's also like, you know, they want you to put all the like, you know, like the shinies, you know, like you need like some image or better even some GIF or something, right? You need to your post. Like if you literally see the difference. Like if someone posted something with no picture, if someone posts something with picture, like like in impressions and views, you instantly see the difference. That's why I kind of started doing it sometimes, even though it does feel to me kind of like weird, but it works like this. So, you know, gotta play blame, you know, the game, not the player. Too many games, nightmare to get noticed. Yeah, I mean it's algorithm. It's always the algorithm. Keeping the audience engaged if the game is not random. Yeah, well, I mean it is a roguelike tower defense, right? So roguelike kind of should be doable to keep people engaged. But yeah, if it's like some just single player, you know, like some finite game that you can finish, then yeah, there is nothing to engage. But some players still kind of wait for you to engage them. Like as I said, like before, it was one of the articles. I think we also saw that, read that one before, or I just kind of like read it on my own since it was a small one, and just mentioned that some guy just released the game full, right? Like no early access, just like full release, full finished, absolute complete game. Good reviews, good everything. Then month passes and there's like reviews rolling in like, bro, game is dead, the dev is not doing anything, like don't buy it anymore. Like the fuck, man, a single player finished, you know, story game. What do you want me to do there? I'm already done, I'm already working on another game. So people do be like that sometimes too nowadays. Like everyone waits for this, like, you know, pumping of the content all the time. Like it's finished product, it's dead. It's dead. Handling negative reviews. Handle them well from a game development perspective. Extracted any useful information from them and responded if it was applicable. But man, do negative reviews hit you hard mentally? No, if you check your favorite games, then you realize that all games have some negative reviews and plenty. Did not matter, they still hit hard. Heard somewhere that you needed 6 positive reviews to have the same emotional impact as 1 negative review has. And I can confirm that it's very true. Although I have more than 80% positive reviews, I feel it hard when a negative one comes in. And of course, it also happens that a negative review is followed by another negative review. That happened right after the disappointing release numbers, and I hit emotional rock bottom. I recovered significantly from it now, but not fully. Very much doubt it whenever I really want to start developing another game. Now the negative emotions has subsided a little, I once again realized that I already knew. I'm doing this because I enjoy the journey, not because of the destination. These have been popping up again, and I'm again looking forward to doing through every step. From market research to prototyping to full release. Have any questions? Feel free to let me know. Let's see. 2K copies significantly above the average for all games. Yeah, that's the thing. Like you also quite often like see that stuff that oh man, I only like sold, you know, like few hundred copies or like few thousand copies. Like man, it's such a failure. And then there's like, you know, a bunch of people sitting there who didn't sell shit whatsoever, or like 5 copies and didn't get like the 10 reviews threshold and everything, and just kind of like forgotten down to the bottom of Steam basically. And for them, it's like, oh, what the fuck, man? So yeah, that is actually really good. 2K copies and like, well, in amount of hours, if you look at it, like not in amount of time obviously invested, because it seems like it was in the free time kind of hobby thingy. Yeah, 700 hours on development. That's like, you know, not that crazy considering it has everything covered. Like the art and stuff, everything was made by one person in 700 hours. Then you get like 2,000 copies sold. It's pretty good. Actually, let's see the name. Now the name of the game. How much was it? $6. So 2,000 copies with $6. And then Gaben takes a bunch. So like overall, I would say like 5,000-6,000 bucks should be left 100%, depending on the taxes also. Like Gaben takes 30%, then you know all the taxes, fees, and everything. I mean, for that amount of time, it's not, I think, too bad. It's not, I think, too bad. Depends on where you live and everything. But I would say like getting here, like taking taxes like 7,000, I guess it would be here, for example, with our taxes. A bit less, I guess, maybe than 8. And that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. Considering, as I say, like how much should be like the work month be, like 160, so like around like, let's say like 800, right? Like 5 months, 8,000 bucks for 5 months here, that would be very solid. Giga solid, I would say, even. So it all depends on the perspective. All depends on the perspective. All right, let's see. I almost won. All right, let's go start with them and use then. And then use recap, because yeah, I'll be a bit slower with it today, since I will need to kind of like pull it from my feed, since I didn't have time to get notes today in the morning. It might take a little longer, but we'll get through them. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like, as I said, it depends. Like here, for example, that would be just like getting paid salary, right, for what you do. Like in my book, at least, if you're getting for what you do, you're getting paid kind of like competitive salary. Well, I guess since he's like, you know, software developer with the background, right? Like it's kind of, he probably could make way more like working somewhere. Like if he's software developer here, he also would be making way more than 8,000 per 5 months. You would be getting more, but if it's like kind of competitive to the salary, then in my book it's kind of nice. In my book, I think it's nice. It basically just kind of like pays for your time well. If you need to get like assets and everything, though, yeah, that already is a problem because you're not gonna have a much left to spare on that, on some expenses related to the game. Getting some like assets, music, that kind of stuff that you already probably not gonna be able to afford then. But if it's just your time and you get paid competitive salary, that's good. And the problem is like, you know, you released it, you got those sales, you got that money, you kind of paid yourself back for the time you invested, right? Kind those months you kind of covered, but then you develop something new, and doesn't mean that that new one gonna succeed too.